Welcome to the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of HardcoreCloser.com, and this podcast is all about helping you, the salesperson, close more sales. And look, whether you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, whatever it is that you sell, this podcast is dedicated to help you generate higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and show you how to charge premium fees for the items you sell so you can get paid what you're worth. What's up, Closer Nation? Welcome to episode 102 of the Hardcore Closer Podcast, and I am so glad you're here. I'm broadcasting live from Wyoming. Man, it is cold and snowy here. Good times. I wrecked the snowmobile. You can check that out on my Facebook page. It's hilarious. And I buried that bitch twice. So anyway, if you're a first timer, make sure you check out the previous episodes. There's 101 of them at least, depending on when you're listening to this in the future. And listen, I need you to do your job and leave me a review on iTunes. Here's my goal. I'm trying to reach 300 million salespeople. And one of the ways to do that is by simply getting into the top podcast section on iTunes. And so it's not an ego thing. I don't want to be one of the top podcasts on iTunes for ego. I want to be one of the top podcasts on iTunes so that I can bring contribution to people just like you. And the best way to get me in that top spot is by leaving a review. A 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. I'm not asking you to leave a review that you don't agree with, but just tell us, because if the show needs improvement, then by all means, let us know it needs improvement too. But the majority of you know that I show up every single week right here to bring the heat to you. And all I ask in return, I'm not trying to get any money from you. I don't need you to send any donations. This isn't like KERA where we're Jerry's kids trying to raise money for some bullshit. I'm just saying that if you'll go over there, it would help me out a ton. And look, I know it's not easy to figure out how to leave a review on a podcast, right? On iTunes. They do not fucking make it easy. That's why it's important that you do it. If you can't figure it out, just go to YouTube, search how to leave a review on iTunes podcast, and boom, there's a ton of videos that'll show you exactly how to help it. It helps the show out a ton, but more importantly, it helps people like you discover this show so that their lives can be changed financially. And sometimes mentally, and sometimes spiritually, depends on what the subject is, right? Like, here's an example. The show name says it all, 5 stars by comedy. This was in January 16th. I was referred by Ryan by a coworker. And that's awesome. I love referrals. A coworker of mine who's a great closer, and now I see why. This guy, Ryan, gives it to you 100% with no bullshit, and it goes well with his personality. I always look forward to the next podcast because I know he's going to give great insight on how to approach sales. And really not just sales, but life. Guys, I appreciate that comedy. When you leave a review, you can pitch your business. You can tell us what you do for a living. You can leave a link to your website. I'll read all that shit. I am not particular. I'm here to help you. I make this podcast every week so I can help the sales community. And any way that I can help you guys, I'll do it, whether that's promoting you, whether that's reading a review with your advertisement in it. You can leave me a 5-star review and then talk about nothing but yourself. I don't give a shit. I will put that on the air too, right? We've even read 1-star reviews from haters on here. All right, before we get into the show, we gotta pay a little bill around here. And I want to talk to you about my funnel closer program. And this funnel closer program is changing lives, people. I have people making 100,000. We like just the last episode I talked about that I talked about funnel closer. There was people making 50. Now we've surpassed that. Somebody's had their first 6-figure month in being a funnel closer. How fucking amazing is that? Somebody that didn't have a job, wasn't sure what they were going to do with their life, bought my funnel closer program and made $100,000 in 1 month from one sale. And we got plenty of people making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. And my goal is to have 12 new millionaires by the end of the year. And we are well on our way, right? Because nobody stops at 50 grand. They go from 50 to 75, 75 to 100, 100 to 152. Then, like Drake says, 0 to 100 real quick. So anyway, go over to funnelcloser.com. Watch the training. I know that you might say, well, I don't have an hour to watch the training, but I don't want you to buy the program unless you understand what you're getting into, because the worst thing ever is when somebody jumps in and buys something that they don't understand, and then they find out that it wasn't for them. They need like which we don't offer refunds, but like a refund or something else. And it just causes problems. It's better for you to get educated up front with what you're buying. So go over to funnelcloser.com, sign up for the webinar, watch it, invest in yourself, do the work, and you will make money. Right now, I've got guys like Brian Dubs who are making $25,000 a month recurring income. I've got guys that like Patrick Grabs that works for me. He's doing $25,000 a week. It is amazing the things that the lives that we're seeing change, the people that are doing great things. So get over to funnelcloser.com and sign up for the training program out there that will change your life. I'm going to tell you this, and some of Grant Cardone's top salespeople are in this program because they're looking for an alternative. You see what I'm saying? That's how good this fucking program is. And when I say top salesmen, I'm talking about the good ones over there, not the guys that are losers. They see the value in this program and they're making money, although Grant pays well, and they're making money from this. So if Grant's folks are coming over and learning, because listen, it's not sales training. It's how to build and scale a business. There's contracts inside of it. There's the ways to prospect. There's ways to sales, but it's all about scaling and building a business. So make sure you go over to funnelcloser.com. It's a fucking game changer. All right, let's jump into the episode. Y'all ready to learn today? Y'all like that? I got through all that shit pretty quick, right? I had a guy the other day, before I do jump into it, I had two people comment the other day saying, Ryan, hurry up and get to the material. Well, listen up, motherfuckers. What? First of all, it was on YouTube, and you can fucking push the fast forward button if you want to be an asshole and just consume my free content and not listen to my sales pitch. That probably says a lot about where you're at in sales, right? Like, because if you're the type motherfucker to hate on a motherfucker for trying to sell their stuff, then how the fuck are you going to be any good at sales? Just think about that for a second. If you sell how you buy and you're a shitty buyer, then you're going to be a shitty salesperson. And if the person every week like me that's sitting here bringing and delivering content to the fucking sales community for fucking free, and you got a problem because the first 5 or 10 minutes of this show is, commercials, so we pay our fucking bills around here, and reviews so that we can acknowledge and give some social proof that our show's got some traction and it's working. I think you probably shouldn't be listening to our shit, right? Like, I don't care. I'm not going to be mad if I lose 1 or 2 people that are pissed that they got to listen to commercials. And you ask yourself, when the Super Bowl was on, did you stand up and go, fuck this commercial? We need to get back to the game. Only small-minded, small thinkers do stuff like that. It's absolutely crazy. And the reason why I say that is because this is going to have a lot to do with this episode where we're talking about getting paid what you're worth. Because listen, a lot of salespeople are underpaid. I think car salespeople are the most underpaid people on the planet. You've got car dealers getting rich. Some of the richest people I know, $100 million net worths, own dealerships, while the guys that bust their ass 12 hours a day make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. I'm going to teach you in this episode how to break through that fucking that low dollar amount that you've assigned to the value of your life to take your life to the next level and to take your finances to the next level. That's what we're going to talk about today. There's always 5 things that we talk about in this show. That's our format. So the first one is you got to configure your cost per hour. In other words, you need to know what you want to make per hour. If you want to make $1,000 a day and you want to make 10 and you want to work 10 hours, then you know that you need to configure your cost at $100 per hour. If you want to make $20,000 a day like I do, and you only want to work 24 hours a day like I do, you've got to make your cost $775 per hour, right? Like that is the key to this. You have to understand your numbers. Let me tell you a story. As a sales guy, I just sold shit and made money. If there was more money in my bank account when I wake up today than there was yesterday, then that means I'm doing something right. And so for years, I lived on that mantra. I never really got to know my value or my cost per hour. I just fucking sold because I'm a salesman. That's what I do. I'm meeting with my bookkeeper, the guy that's a full-time bookkeeper for us. I'm meeting with him the other day, and he's showing me what my cost per hour is, like what I get paid per hour, where our most profitable and most unprofitable parts are. And now that I know that, I'm able to have last month we had a record month, which we've been doing every month except for December. It wasn't a bad month, but we took a little bit of a step back because we cleaned some house and made some adjustments. But sitting down with this bookkeeper and him showing me where my money's going, where my costs are going and all that stuff, it's changed the game. Matter of fact, I doubled my rates on one of my programs because I realized that I was delivering entirely too much for what I was charging. And guess what? We had more people sign up for it. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out how much money you want to make per day, per month, per week, how many hours you want to work per day, per month, per week. And then once you know the dollar amount and the hours, you divide them. Obviously, it's going to give you your cost per hour. You got to figure that out because a lot of people say, I want to make $1 million. Well, $1,000,000 is $2,800 a day. And so if you're going to work a 10-hour day, you need to be making $280 per hour, right? That needs to be your cost per hour. So if you make $2,800 a day, you make $1,000,000 a year, and your cost per hour should be $280, and you need to be doing that for 10 hours a day. So that means if you take a lunch, you might need to work an 11-hour day. Number 2, make yourself a big ticket producer, not a low ticket. There's two rules of two paths that we can take in sales. Path number 1 is we can go sell a lot of people a small amount of money, and that usually takes a lot of work. Like an insurance agent has to close hundreds of deals per week to make any real money. And not all insurance agents, but I mean, if you're selling auto insurance or home insurance, you got to sell a lot of policies because they don't pay huge. They pay a few $100s, and it's residual. You get them annually or you get them whatever the case. But that is what I would consider a low ticket. Car sales where you're making $200 per sale. Again, I would consider that low ticket too. When you believe that you're worth more than that, then you need to start selling big ticket products. My products cost anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 because I value my time. And if I have other businesses, I own 8 companies, and most of you only know about the coaching side, but that's more of a fulfillment thing than a necessity for money. You understand? But if I was going to do that and get fulfillment, I was going to make sure that I got paid for my time. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to charge $100 an hour like a therapist, I said, hey, I'm going to charge $25,000 for 6 months like a professional consultant. And at first it was difficult for me because I'm like, man, am I worth $25,000? And you know what? I have proved time and time again, I've made over 20 people $1 million in a year. I think that it'd be worth $25,000 for 6 months if I can make you $1 million in a year, right? And so, but if I charged you $100, it would not be painful enough for you to actually go out and do the work to where you can make that $1 million. You'd be like, it's fucking $100 a month. Fuck it. It ain't really that big of a deal. We have a way higher percentage dropout on our low cost programs than we do our big ticket programs. And the big tickets are the most profitable. So if you're going to sell cars, that's awesome. Go sell Lamborghinis. I might buy one from you. If you're going to sell insurance, go sell life insurance. It pays the most, right? And so look for the big ticket opportunities. If you're going to sell real estate, don't sell trailer homes, sell $1 million properties. It's just as hard to sell a trailer as it is a $1 million house. The only difference is a $60,000 trailer might pay you $1,200, where a $1 million house will pay you $30,000. Same amount of work, same marketing, same job, just different pay. So make sure that you make yourself big ticket and not low ticket, because you're worth more than you think you are. Because here's what I know. Most of us salespeople, we grew up with fucked up backgrounds, poor parents. Most of us were abused, adopted. We deal with addictions and everything else. So that puts a low value on us. And so we have a hard time selling expensive stuff because we have such a low value on ourselves. You've got to stop that. You were made to be awesome. You have a gift. You were put on this planet for a reason, and it was not to be average. It was not to be broke. The fact that you're listening to this shows me that you do not want to be either one of those things. So focus on being the big ticket. Number 3, ask for the money. So many people are just scared to ask for all the money. I'll tell you a story. And hell, I'm no exception to the rule. I have been through everything that you're going through. I've been through it too. And I hit up one of my mentors the other day, and I said, man, I noticed that, after a few months, people are dropping out of our programs because they get lazy. And he said, and I said, I don't want them to get lazy. They have the potential. It's just that they get familiarity breeds laziness sometimes. And he said, well, just ask for all the money up front. Instead of doing a payment plan for $5,000 a month for 5 months, just ask for the $25,000 up front. And I thought, well, all right, I'll try it. I'm not scared. I'm coachable. I'm not scared. I'll go out there and ask for all the money. Well, I'll be damned if I didn't make $100,000 up front last week just by asking them to pay the full 25 instead of offering them a finance plan. And again, that's what I'm worth. I'm worth that $100,000. I had to get my mind up to understand that I needed to ask for all of it. But look, I get less in the last few sale transactions that I've made personally, because I practice sales every day like you. I found that it was easier to ask for all the money and they give it to me than it was to ask them to go on a payment plan, because the payment plan has them committing to a monthly recurring, where all the money up front was like, fuck it, I write one check, I'm done, then I just got to do the work. So make sure you ask for all the money. Number 4, work hard for it. You know, a lot of people in sales, we're like self-deprecating. You go out and you make a sale and your boss goes, oh, it's just because it was a lay down sale. Hell, a monkey could have closed that motherfucker, right? Like, you ain't doing shit. You ain't working for it. And so we have this, we don't deserve some of these sales. Like, I love lay down sales, right? I feel like all the sales that I worked hard on that I didn't close, the lay down sales are the blessings that come to me because I put the work in. And so that's what I would ask you is like, you work hard for it. And if you know you're going to work hard for your clients, then you should ask for the money. And guess what? If your clients see you working hard for them, they want you to have more money. When you go out to eat and the waiter does a really good job and he's working hard and he's keeping your drinks filled and he's keeping your food on your plate, you want to give them a big tip, right? Because if people see, but the world is full of lazy fucks. And if people see that you're out there working hard, kicking ass, and you're like doing everything that you can to make their life easier and you're serving them, they want to pay you more. The reason why Tony Robbins can get $100,000 for his mastermind and one check cash up front is because he knows that him and his team are going to work hard for it. Tony's the guy, the reason why he charges $20,000 to go to his event, because he knows he's going to be out there for 4 days, 12 hours a day, working fucking hard for it. But see, what happens, a lot of people are lazy and then they ask for all the money and then they get turned down. And it's not because the customer didn't want to do business with them. It's not because the customer didn't like the product. It's because the customers don't want to do business with lazy people. But I promise you, every time a subcontractor's worked hard for me in real estate, every time an employee has worked hard for me, I have given them money. Last year, thanks to Trump's new tax plan and my employees working hard, I gave them all a huge bonus. My fucking right-hand woman, Lindsay, I gave her a big-ass bonus last year, a life-changing bonus last year. Why? Because she fucking works hard, right? And she knows her value. She didn't have to ask for it because she knew I was going to pay it because she knows that she's earned it. Because when you work hard for something and you know you've worked hard and then they know you've worked hard, they feel like that's when you earn shit. It's when you don't work hard for something and you're lazy about it, then it's hard for them to want to pay you big ticket stuff. You see, my clients that hire me, the cool thing is they know I'm one of the hardest working motherfuckers out there. I'm up at 4:30 like clockwork. I bust my ass all day long. You can ask any of my employees. You can ask any of our affiliates, any of the sales team. You say, does Stewman really work that hard? They'd be like, he's the hardest working motherfucker I ever met. And that's why he makes the money, because people know he'll go work hard for them. And the fifth and last one is you need to have a high value for yourself. A lot of us, I touched on this earlier, but a lot of us have low self-value. The reason why is because we were probably like me. I grew up with an abusive stepdad who told me I was a fucking piece of shit my whole life. So my value assigned to me at a young age was that I'm a piece of shit that's worthless. And so a lot of you are that way too. You had abusive parents. Our generation, especially if you're a millennial like I am, I was born in 1979. If you're a millennial like I am, our parents, a lot of them were fucking horrible parents. And because they had been babied by the baby boomers, right? And so they would tell us things like, you're just a fucking shitbag and they were like Red from the fucking 70s show, dumbass. And all this. And so what happens is subconsciously that shit gets grained inside of our brains and we have a hard time asking for a lot of money because we don't value ourselves. I see guys that come work for me. Patrick Grabs. I'm going to fucking put your ass on blast because I love shit out of you, man. Patrick Grabs sometimes will come to me and he's like, dude, we're in trouble. We're having to pay $20 per lead for this real estate funnel we created for these people. And to him, because he's on his way to being a millionaire, but he's not there yet, but he's well on his fucking way. But to him, he's thinking, that's the value that he's assigned in his mind. Whereas every time I tell him, just go fucking tell them that's what they're getting leads for. And every time they're ecstatic because Zillow charges 100 and we're getting them for 20, we're still winning. But his value on those leads should be $5 or $10. That's in his mind. But I'm like, hey, man, you got to understand that some people want to only pay $5 or $10 per lead. Other people have no choice but to pay 20. But in their marketplace, if they sell $1 million home and it costs them, out of 10 leads, it costs them $200 to make $30,000. That's fucking still where it is. And so I've had to work with him and many other salespeople over the year to have a high value for yourself, to go through that stigma. See, we were formed and shaped from ages 4 to 7. Everything that happened from ages 4 to 7 shaped our comprehension. So the way that we look at things, the way that we react, I'm a big fight or flight person. And the reason why I'm a big fight or flight person is simple, because during the period of 4 to 7, my real father left me. I was adopted. I was abused. My grandparents were bankers, and they owned these small savings and loans. The savings and loans crashed. Our family went broke. Man, I had a lot of I still do have a lot of damage, and I had a low value for myself for many years. Now I understand that through consistently leveling up, through meditating and all the things that I've done, I understand that, you know what, I should get paid what I'm worth. And I believe I'm worth a lot. I'm not worthless. I'm not the dumbass like from the 70s show. I'm not the piece of shit loser that my stepdad used to say to me. I'm not any of those things. I have a high value for myself. And guess what, my friends? You're not any of those things that your parents, your friends, the people in school, the bullies, the sales managers, the CEOs, the shit talking troll piece of shit motherfuckers on the internet. None of those motherfuckers know how valuable you really are. Only you know how valuable that you really are. And until you step out and you say, I'm fucking worth $1 million. I deserve $1 million. I'm going to get what's coming to me. That's when the fucking game changes for people. You see, most people sit out there and they say, you're worthless. And they say, you know what? I guess I am worthless. I'll go take this $25,000 a year job doing some bullshit. And I'll just be mediocre. Because that's what pieces of shit do. And if I'm worthless and I have no value on myself, then I can't go out and ask for all the money on the next job. And then it kills you. And then you wind up, you spend your whole life broke mentally. You spend your whole life broke financially. You spend your whole life broken with relationships because you didn't assign the value on yourself. You see, when the divine creator created us, when he coded this planet, he assigned a worth for all of us. Now, some people are worthless. I will say that. Child molesters, rapists, murderers, wife beaters, liars, thieves, they are fucking worthless. But you're not one of those people if you're listening to this show. And you have to understand that the divine creator put a big ass price tag on you. Matter of fact, it probably cost your parents $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just to have you. Just to have you. So if you were worth $20,000 at birth, what the fuck are you worth at 35 years old? Should be 20 million, maybe 2 million, maybe 200,000. It doesn't matter, but you have to assign that high value on yourself. If you want to make big money in sales, you want to make big money in the marketplace, period, you have to understand that you are worth that big money, and you are, my friends. That's why you're here on this show. You're not listening to this show to figure out how to fuck people. You're not listening to this show to figure out how to scam people. We don't teach that stuff. I'm teaching you how to increase your self-esteem so it increases your self-worth so you can go out into the marketplace, kick some fucking ass, get paid what you deserve, and live the fucking dream life that you wanted to live. That's what I'm doing right now. I decided 4 or 5 years ago what I was worth, and I would not settle for less. I decided 4 years ago what kind of woman I wanted in my life, and I will not settle for less. I decided 3 or 4 years ago what kind of cars I want to drive, and I will not settle for less. You know why? Because I have a high value for myself. And so when I go and ask somebody to pay me $100,000 for something, I don't get chicken shit. I don't have fear in my eyes. I'm not scared. I know I'm fucking worth it. And if they pay me, they'll make $1 million. And it's the same for you. But the first thing that you have to do before you'll ever make big money is you'll have to believe that you're worth big money. That's real shit. That's real talk. All right, so let's go through a recap real quick. You got to configure your cost per hour. How much money do you want to make? How many hours do you want to work to make that money? And then divide the two. You'll figure out real quick that you waste a lot of time, and you'll figure out real quick when you say that, hey, my time's worth $280 an hour, you'll find out real quick that if you just wasted an hour scrolling through Facebook, you threw $280 away. Number 2, make yourself big ticket, not low ticket. It's okay to have both things. I sell books for $10 and then I sell mastermind packages for $25,000. But my focus is not on selling books. My focus is on getting the books in the hands of people, which, by the way, you can get at elevatortothetop.com, but getting those books in the hands of people so that they can read them, see the value that I have for myself, see the value I can add into their life, and then ultimately go up that elevator to the top by buying more expensive stuff. But the end goal is not just to sell somebody a $10 book. The end goal is to change somebody's life, right? And that takes, because this is the way we're wired as humans, that takes being big ticket, right? Number 3, ask for the money, all of it. When I sold cars, when I sold mortgages, I always hit them with the highest rate possible first, because if they said yes, boom, I made a huge commission. I always ask them for sticker price first on cars, because if they said yes, I made a huge commission. And I know that I worked for it, which is number 4. I worked hard for those commissions, and I'm going to work hard for my clients. So I knew that I deserved them. I didn't have any problem asking them, because people like rewarding people with money that work hard, right? That's how people get raises. That's how people get bonuses. That's how people get paid. That's how people close sales. And last but not least, number 5, recap, have a high value for yourself. If you think you're worthless, you'll never really fulfill the worth that you are. You really won't. It all starts with believing that you're worth whatever it is that you want. All right, so I know this is kind of a quick show. I'm on the road, but man, I just wanted to come in and punch it and hit it hard, get right down to it, fire you the fuck up and move on. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those days. So be sure to go over to elevatortothetop.com, grab your free copy of my best-selling book, Elevator to the Top. Again, it's over at elevatortothetop.com. If you have not got that, we only have like 50 copies left. So you better get your shit now, because I will not be offering this again at this point. And so you can get all the show notes and everything else over at hardcorecloser.com. And don't forget, damn it, I need you to leave me a review on iTunes and leave me a review on iTunes. And then also share this on social media with somebody that needs to hear it, somebody that needs a high value of their self, and somebody that needs to learn how to get paid what they're worth. We'll catch you next week, closers. Thanks for tuning in.